Here's a brief overview about how to give feedback to the Kanazawa learners. The goals of the feedback are to focus on the learner's pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary. And one thing to avoid is coaching on history taking, unless it has to do directly with their language usage. And you'll see an example of this coming up. When starting the feedback, introduce yourself and also speak slow enough to be understood, but not too slow. The next step is to set an agenda. Let the students know what it is you're going to be focusing on. Something to the effect of, we have 5 minutes to discuss how you spoke English during our encounter. We'll focus on your pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary. When starting the feedback, it's a good idea to focus on their questions first. Because you only have about 5 minutes, this may take the entire feedback session. And so you want to start with a statement such as, before I give you feedback, did you have any difficulty pronouncing words or finding the right words or expressing yourself? When starting the feedback, you want to avoid asking open-ended questions to start. For example, how do you think you did? And instead ask specific questions about their English usage. Here are a couple examples of starting feedback with the learner's questions or concerns.
I actually have some words that I couldn't understand.
Okay.
You said once of 3-4 days?
Yeah, so I go to the bathroom every 3 or 4 days.
Every 3.
Yeah, so in between I don't go to the bathroom. It's very rarely that I actually am able to make a vowel movement.
Okay.
Every 3 or 4 days.
And Bruce and
Prune. Prune juice.
Prune juice.
Prune juice, yes. Prunes are dried plums. Prune. So the juice of prunes, prune juice, is supposed to help you poop. But it didn't help me. Prune juice, yes.
So I just want to know if you have any questions that you wanted to ask during the encounter, but you wasn't sure. You were not sure how to ask me. Which one?
What does
A glint. You know, like your vocal cord, your glint. Do you know what I'm talking about now? Inside your throat.
I think I got it.
Yeah, next to your vocal cord. You know, like when you have a fever, usually they swollen. You know? Yeah. So I was telling you, like, my glands and my ears, they are swollen. Yes.
When giving feedback, you do want to use positive and supportive language, but you also want to avoid the general statements such as, you're great, or I had no problems understanding your English, which may be the case for you personally, but may not be true for everyone. When giving positive feedback, you want to highlight a specific verbal or nonverbal strength. For example, you made good eye contact, or your voice was loud enough so I had no problems hearing you. Here's an example of pronunciation feedback and how listener comprehension is enhanced when they ask questions in an orderly way. And this is also an eliciting information issue that you may have to consider when rating eliciting information on the interpersonal and communication skills rating scale.
You had some words that I had trouble understanding. Radiated.
Radiated.
There you go. Radiated.
Radiated.
Yes, radiated. You said radiated.
I see.
And that's sometimes it's pronounced that way, but radiated makes it easier for English, Americans, English speakers to understand you. Since you are working on your English, one of the things that I think will help you is to stay on the order of your questions. So ask all the questions you want to ask about why I'm here. Finish those questions. and then ask the questions about history. Because I saw you going back and forth
I see.
from one to the other, and a little bit of that confusion, I think, makes it harder for you to think through the language. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for me?
Could you tell me again the
1 minute left.
part of the name
Mhm.
of
So
here?
this is the knee. This is the knee.
Knee,
Yes.
comment here,
Calf.
calf,
Calf. This is all the calf.
calf,
Calf, shin,
thing,
Shin.
Shin. Could you?
S-H-I-N.
S-H-I-N.
Shin. The front is the shin. The muscle back here is the calf.
Calf.
Ankle
Um,
and foot.
oh, okay.
Yes.
What does feet mean? Feet means all.
Feet is just this. Feet,
Ah, I
foot,
see.
feet.
Foot, feet.
1 foot, 2 feet.
2 feet.
Yes.
How about here? Here.
Well, this is the leg.
Leg. Leg.
The whole thing is the leg.
I see.
Thigh,
Thigh.
knee, calf, shin, feet.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Your time is up.
Good luck.
And here are a few examples of helping the learner with their pronunciation and vocabulary.
Percocet. Percocet.
Percocet.
P-E-R-C-O-C-E-T. Percocet. It's an opioid. Yes, it's a painkiller.
Are there any words that I've used that you didn't know, or any words that you vocabulary that you're curious about?
I don't know the name of the drug.
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen.
Yeah, that's and that's a very common drug that a lot of Americans use. It's like I don't know if Tylenol is ibuprofen, but it's like Advil, Tylenol, these kinds of drugs are ibuprofen. So you'll hear that word a lot.
The ibuprofen and Tylenol.
I'm not sure if it's the same because there's ibuprofen and acetaminophen. So one is Tylenol and one is Advil. I don't know which one.
These two are used for pain control, right?
Pain and fever.
Fever.
Yeah. You can buy them without a prescription. It's like buffering. You in Japan.
Yeah,
it's
we
buffering.
have it.
Yeah, similar. Any other questions?
I have one more
Yeah.
question. I wanted to ask about your drug. And I asked you, do you have any drugs?
One more minute.
Okay.
Besides asthma
Oh, you should say, do you take any other medication? Because when you hear drugs, that we think like painkillers, like ibuprofen or something. So I think that question you want to ask, do you take any other medications?
Okay. And I don't know the difference between besides and except.
Okay, so besides the pump, what other medications do you take, right? That's how you would use that. Besides, so okay, we talked about that, but other than, besides means other than that. What else? Except means not including. So it's sort of similar. Does that answer your question? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.